In from Thomas Bach, the president of the International Olympic Committee. My colleague Shirin Bhan spoke to him and asked him whether he thinks that virtual or esports could make an entry into the Olympics and whether young people need to be confronted to get into the sports as digitization takes a front seat. Listen in to what he had to say.
We cannot wait anymore for the young people to come to us. We have to go where they are, in the real world and in the digital world. 10 years ago, we created the Digital Olympic Channel, which is now already reformed again, but because of all this reform of the reform, very successful. And the other is that we have to embrace the appearance of esports, while again respecting our values.
Is that the future? Are we likely to see virtual sport being included at some point?
That is clearly part of the future. Because it's not only cycling, even now in combat sports, you're going to see it, and we have, started to embrace, to appreciate this development. And just a couple of weeks ago, we had in Singapore for the very first time an Olympic esports final week, where there were competitions in particular in this kind of virtual sports, but where we also, continued and deepened our dialogue with this industry.
So online gaming at some point in the future could be part of the Olympic Games.
Online sports. Online sports, that will be a decision for the future, and this is, this esports final is a kind of testing the waters. We have to see how it goes, whether these the virtual sports do really keep or gain more attractivity, because we also have to see that the virtual sports do only have a very small market share in the overall e-gaming business.
This is a classic example of looking at opportunities in adjacencies, and you're looking at esports as a possible adjacency at this point in time. For the lack of a better word, for the Olympic mega franchise, so to speak, what are the other adjacencies from a revenue point of view, from a monetization perspective, that you're looking at outside of the games and the broadcast and media rights?
We are not looking at this from a monetizing point of view. We are a values-based organization, and therefore, for us, it is about staying relevant. And this esports engagement, for instance, is an investment we are taking. We did not look for business in this. For us, it's a means to stay relevant in this young generation and in this very particular community. And but the more interesting is maybe because this esports is very obvious. It's let's say easy in one way to deal with, and also to anticipate what may happen and not what.
What's the hard one?
No, not the hard one. The more interesting one is AI. What will happen there? Because this has the potential to change not only all our society, but when the society changes, also sport changes. And there are a number of challenges. But there are also, huge opportunities. and in every aspect of sport. It will already be a difference on how the young generation will find access to sport. It will create a big difference in how athletes will be training. It will change the whole refereeing and judging system. And it will also change the organization of the games in very obvious ways. Television, will be produced very differently in times of aid than now. But in particular, with regard to spectators, the big question will be, will the immersive experience, AI together with the metaverse, with AR, can create.
All right, very interesting chat there with the Olympic Committee and them talking about esports and considering, giving it a spot within the Olympics, not so much as a business move, but more in a bid to stay relevant. That is a very interesting chat. We're going to wind down in this edition of Business